Welcome to Espresso Jams, short, concentrated, delicious conversations about business, life, and more. And now, here's your host, Joe Matz.
Hello, Joe Matz here with another edition of Espresso Jams. And today I've got Jeff Borschowa with us. And he is a business growth strategist and also a mastermind fanatic by his own account. And we're just really happy to have Jeff here. Jeff, why don't you tell listeners a little bit about yourself and then we'll get into the conversation.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, Joe. First of all, it's always a pleasure to chat with you. A little bit about myself. I am in Red Deer, Alberta, Canada. So we have had lots of snow and it's been below freezing for this last month, basically. I guess the biggest thing I would say is I am obsessed with masterminds, and I believe that they are the greatest force for good in business on the planet.
Yeah, and I think we're together on that thought. Masterminds have been great for me throughout my career. And we got talking about masterminds. In fact, Jeff and I are in a mastermind together and just having a great experience. And just, more minds we get together, like minds, thinking together and inputting, I think is fantastic. So what we were going to talk about today, Jeff, was the power of the masterminds and how to make sure you're in the right mastermind. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes, I am a big fan of masterminds, but the caveat is you've got to be in the right one with the right people. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And just for background, I'll share what I believe a mastermind is, and then we'll jump into any tangents you and I discover along the way.
Perfect.
All right. So the first thing I'm going to say, for me, the concept of mastermind has been something I've followed a lot of my life. And I will take the roots back to the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I think a lot of people credit him with being the founder of the modern concept of mastermind. So to me, a mastermind is any situation where two or more people come together to solve a problem. So they have to be like-minded, they have to be working together to solve a problem. So a mastermind could be as simple as, when I was a child growing up on the farm, you'd be out on the tractor trying to figure out why it wasn't working. The neighbor would pull up and you'd stand there and stare at it for a while and you take turns kicking it. And, ultimately that's a simple mastermind solving a simple problem. But a real mastermind, in my opinion, entrepreneurs are probably the loneliest people on the planet. They don't have access to resources. They try to solve problems on their own, or they're embarrassed. They don't want to admit that they don't know what they don't know. What a mastermind does and should do, it's a place of trust where you can bring together all the people that you need to help you solve your business problems. And from an entrepreneur point of view, a mastermind is that great equalizer. And the reality is, maybe today I'm having a problem with my staff that you solved last week. So if you come and help me solve it, what I like about a mastermind is 1 + 1 is not 2, it's 11 or whatever you need it to be. Because if you bring a solution to the group and I'm able to implement it, we both have that solution in our lives. So a great
Yes.
master. Oh, sorry.
Oh, so yeah, and I've always found that masterminds, there's a certain energy that is created as you get, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people together. There's an energy in that room and a creativity that is just exponentially higher than if you're sitting by yourself somewhere.
Yeah, and I would go so far, and COVID's been a real learning curve for me in that I used to run industry specific masterminds. So I just run a group of accountants, for example. And what you get with that is, let's say there's eight people in the group, you've got 8 people looking at a problem from the same lens of I'm an accountant. One of the real, and we'll talk about the elements of a great mastermind, but what I've found with COVID, we're doing more and more virtual masterminds. People are connecting from different countries. Just the magic ingredient I'm finding is the more diversity you have in the group, whether that's cultural, whether it's, experience, the greater level of diversity really makes that brainstorming and sharing of ideas really magical.
So how do you know if you're in the right mastermind or not?
So first, yeah, definitely that's a great question, and it's sort of one of my pet peeves in the world. A lot of people have experienced a mastermind, and I'm going to use air quotes because it really truly wasn't a mastermind.
Hmm.
And the key thing there, a lot of people get together with a group of friends, and they bounce ideas off each other, and there's no structure and there's no order to it. So the first thing I would say is, as a business owner, I don't care if you join a mastermind, create a mastermind, whatever it is, you should have at least one mastermind in your business. And the most important piece of that mastermind is consistency and structure. So you should have an agenda, you should have, terms. How do we meet? How often do we meet? Who's going to be there? You definitely need some consequences. So if, we do a monthly mastermind, for example, if you miss more than 2 months in the year, we're going to ask you to leave the group because you're not contributing. So that's the biggest thing, is that consistency in the structure. The other thing I'm really a fan of is the size of the group. So for most businesses with average people running them, I would never be in a group that has more than 12 participants. And the reason I say that is an amateur can run a mastermind of 12. All you need to be able to do is tell time and keep people on time and keep them focused. But if you go bigger than 12, you need an expert facilitator because people are getting less value. They're not getting enough time to ask their questions. They're not getting time to get their answers. So the value of a mastermind, it grows as you add numbers, but then it diminishes after 12 based on the experience. So there are amazing facilitators out there. They can run a group of 100, 200 and do it well. Very few people have that skill set.
Hmm. Yeah, I know. I certainly don't. And 12 would be a max for me. I just wouldn't know how to get people to participate and contribute and to feel like they're more than just a number, especially if you're looking at 100, 200. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
that's the key, and again, when you get to those bigger numbers, those tend to be, the gurus who are experts at what they do. And it's really not a mastermind, it's really group coaching.
Hmm.
And the distinction there, just for anybody who's curious, masterminding is the exchange of ideas. So we're going to brainstorm and share ideas. Group coaching, there's one expert who shares their ideas, and then everybody takes it and goes away and implements. So, if you're in a group with Tony Robbins doesn't want to hear your thoughts on motivation. He's going to share his expertise.
Right. That's a very important distinction. Yes.
So, and just to be clear, Tony Robbins has mastermind groups, which he keeps to a small number. I don't know that number, but it's very expensive. You pay $1 million a year for Tony's attention.
Right.
So you get what you pay for. So one of the first things I would warn people, free masterminds, there's no consequences. People come and go. You want people that are committed. And the goal of the mastermind should be a long-term approach. Now, there's two elements that you need to add to guarantee success. The first element is accountability. So if you're in a mastermind and there's no accountability, you might as well just be doing your own thing on your own. Accountability is the group helping you. And so what we do with a lot of our masterminds is every session we say, what have you accomplished since the last time? So accountability is important because without it, you don't get anything done. The other piece is a really fundamental question that I recommend you ask for everything you're learning, whether it's a mastermind or a course or a book you're reading. Ask the question and develop the habit of asking, how does this apply to me? And what that
That's a
does.
great question. I think we could have a whole 10-minute talk on that. But we're nearing the end here, Jeff, and I just want to ask you, what would be a quick takeaway from our conversation today for the listeners?
A great quick takeaway would be, if you're not part of a mastermind designed to help your business grow, find one and find a good one and join.
And join. Okay. And the best way to contact Jeff is at his LinkedIn page, and I'll put a link down below so you can take it right there, or you could. And then the spelling of his name is very important, so we'll put that down there. And Jeff, it has been great having you on the show. Sure
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Joe. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye now.